Our special guest during this portion of the program is Longhorns rising redshirt junior right-hander Morgan Cooper from the Longhorn baseball team and the ace of the staff. Now, Coach Strong and I were just talking about the World Series. We're going to get to your fall World Series in a moment here on campus, but did you have a rooting interest last night in Game 7?
Not really. I wanted the Cubs to win just because of the history and everything, but I wasn't going to lose any sleep over it if the Cubs didn't win, but it was nice to see them win.
Do you have a favorite Major League team?
Usually the Rangers, Texas team. I watch the Rangers all the time, and a couple of my roommates, Boz and Hunter, they're from Dallas, and so they're always rooting for the Rangers, and so I guess I've kind of grown into rooting for the Rangers now. Well,
just to let folks know that during the fall ball season for the Longhorns, Morgan went 29 2/3 innings, allowed a grand total in 29 2/3 innings, a measly 7 hits, 2 runs, 5 walks, 64 strikeouts, and a 0.61 earned run average. Not bad for a guy who, when he came off the Tommy John surgery and everything going into last year, I know everybody was trying to take it easy with you and kind of trying to bring you along, and we were seeing that on the road as well. And was there finally a point during the course of last season where you felt, if not better than you were before, because I've heard some guys who had TJ surgery said they felt even better, but if not that, certainly felt like their old self. And did you get to that point last year?
I think towards the end, probably the last 2 or 3 starts, starting with Baylor, and then going into the Big 12 tournament, I thought I was pretty close, if not just about where I was before surgery. And that was a frustrating thing all season is, when you get out on the rubber, you're not worried about how your arm feels. You're not worried about, oh, I had surgery. You
can't be, right?
You want to go win the game. And so when you're in the heat of the game and the coaches say, hey, you're done, we got to protect you, that didn't always sit right with me. I was like, I want to keep going. That's just, being competitive. So that was always something that I struggled with during the season. But, they were just trying to protect me. And that was definitely frustrating, but it was good. And now moving into the fall, I think it's been the right move.
Was it kind of when you knew you had to have the surgery, was it what went through your mind? How, I hear guys say they know that's best for them, but it doesn't stop you from being a little bit nervous about what the future holds for you because you want to make sure, A, the surgery goes well, and that, B, that you recover nicely from it, and C, that you can be as good, if not better, than you were before.
I was definitely bummed out. Obviously, you're not excited about having to miss a year or a little bit more, really. But I knew that I needed it, and I knew that if I ever wanted to be who I thought I could be, I was going to have it to be pain-free. And, there had been guys before me that had it, John Curtis, Dylan Peters, my brother. I have an older brother, and he had it also. And so I knew I'd have resources to kind of go back on and, just pick their brain about stuff. And, obviously the staff here at UT, they're awesome, and they've been through it before. And so I knew I'd be in good hands. But, yeah, it was definitely, in the back of your mind, you're still those thoughts creeping in your mind, well, what if I'm that percentage that doesn't work out, so that always creeps in there. But for the most part, I just try to stay positive and know that, it happened for a reason.
How difficult was it for you, being the competitor that you are? We talked about, you said when Skip Johnson would come out to say, hey, we're going to protect you, you've had enough. But beyond that, how difficult was it for you to know when you had to pump the brakes, when you had to not go, even though being the competitor that you are, you wanted to be able to push through it?
It was definitely, it was really hard, because, I'm not somebody who's used to being injured, and so I've always been able just to go until I physically can't anymore. So having to stop, it just went against everything I had been taught growing up. My dad would literally tell me in high school when I played football, he said, if you are laying on that field, there better be a broken bone or something, or you better something like that. So it's just been ingrained in me just to go and go. So having to stop just because, no reason other than we're going to protect you, it was really hard to deal with. But looking back, it was for my own safety and for my own health. And so, looking back on it now, I understand it, but it was definitely hard to do.
All right, we're going to have more with Morgan Cooper coming up. We continue live here from Pluckers, the West Campus location. Longhorn Weekly will continue in a moment. Back to Longhorn Weekly here from Pluckers, the West Campus location, and during this portion of the program, visiting with the ace of the Longhorn baseball staff, and that is going to be rising redshirt junior right-hander Morgan Cooper, who not only has been the ace of the staff in terms of what he does on the mound, also right up there in terms of what he's done in the classroom. Academic All Big 12 first team honors for 2016. I always hear guys say that the two key words to being a real good student as part of as well as a real good athlete, the whole student athlete, are the words time management. Does that hold in your case, or do you not have any difficulties with time management?
No, I think everybody definitely struggles with it. If they say they don't, they're probably lying. But yeah, I think as a freshman, usually everybody here does a pretty good job of making sure that you know where all your classes are. You have study hall, you have practice, you have classes, all that stuff. And so early on, I think it's kind of hard because coming from high school, it's kind of everything's kind of set out for you. Well, you have a lot of free time when you get here, and so you just got to make sure that you set time aside away from even study hall just to make sure you get everything done. If you get in a habit early on, as you get older, it just gets easier. Not necessarily the classes, but just making sure that you have time allotted to get stuff done.
The routine of studying, which just the word studying is kind of it's a very difficult term for some folks to realize because they can't conceive of the concept of just sit there and reading and poring over your notes and books and things like that. But I mean, there's an art to it, isn't it, to really becoming a good student athlete? The student part of it is learning to master the skills of studying, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm no master of it myself. I'm not going to lie.
You're all academic. I'd say you're pretty good at it.
But I mean, everybody's a little different. Everybody has their own little tricks. A lot of people, I like to use, flashcards, just going over that. You can even do that on the computer. You can use a computer to make flashcards. There's all sorts of different ways. It's just finding out what works for you. If you're one of those that can just sit there and read over and over and then it sticks, more power to you. I can't do that. I need to write it down. Like I said, make flashcard stuff. But everybody's a little bit different, but you just got to find what works for you.
You're going in, like we said, a redshirt junior year, so going into a fourth year on campus, and you get varying response from some student athletes about how important it is to them, depending on the school they go to and what their degree program is, how important it is to them to actually earn the degree. And I've heard you talk about that's an important thing to you and a goal for you down the line, as well as perhaps taking the next step as a baseball player.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty amazing to say that you have a degree from the University of Texas. And coming back, that was a big thing that I wanted to get done for myself. It was when I came back, it was the first thing I did over the summer was I went to my counselor and I said, hey, what do I got to do to graduate? That's what I want to do. And so just from then on, I just made out my plan from summer all the way till this coming summer. So I have everything planned out, all the classes I need to take, and so yeah, it was important for me to get all that lined out. So I made sure that I could graduate.
You might not know this little known fact about Morgan Cooper. He comes from a family of outstanding bakers. His mom and his grandma have in the past. And I'll never forget when he walked on campus as a freshman. And this is the way to win the hearts of your coaching staff, by the way. Walking in and there's these huge cobblers and banana puddings and things like that. And now you're not an overweight guy, but I would imagine growing up in a household like that, there was plenty of great desserts in that house between your mom and your grandma.
Oh yeah, all the time. It's funny. I get made fun of a lot by people who knew me growing up because I wasn't always tall and slender. I kind of stretched out eventually, but there was a point in time where I was kind of the short, chunky kid.
Really?
And so I got to blame a little bit on all the stuff that was around.
Desserts,
cookies, banana pudding, cobbler, strawberry pie, all that. you can't just not eat it, especially growing up. So yeah, it was definitely hard to stay away from that growing up.
Have you learned cooking tips from your mom and from your grandma about how to do some of that stuff? Well, that was awesome. That stuff you were bringing in, I can tell you that.
Actually, I made my grandma. I didn't make her, but I told her I wanted a cookbook from her, and so really all the things that I loved, that she knew that I loved eating, she made a cookbook, and she has it all separated out. Meats, desserts, all that stuff. It's all in there. So if I need to, I'm not a big cooker, but if I really needed to, I guess it's there for me to try out.
What's your favorite meal that the family makes?
Probably country fried deer steak and mashed potatoes and gravy. That's usually
country fried venison. We're basically talking country fried deer steak.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's usually, if I had any choice, that's probably what I'd ask for.
Yeah, and for dessert,
strawberry pie. With the whipped cream on top.
That's good. Now, how much of that in a season are you allowed to,
during the season?
Yeah, eat.
Try to stay away from it. But if it's there, I'm probably gonna have to go for it.
Okay. All right. On the field, what are the kind of goals you set for yourself this season coming up?
I don't really like having expectations. I try to stay away from that. It's hard. You want to be successful. I think one big goal is just staying healthy.
Yep.
Coming off of last year, I've had a little bit of break over the summer, and I've come back. So, big thing is just staying healthy, doing everything I can to stay healthy. But I just want to win.
How different is it now with the new coaching staff and having the head coach, Coach Pierce, basically act as your pitching coach?
They've been awesome. Coach Pierce, as soon as they came in, they've laid out, this is what we're going to do. This is our philosophy, everything. And Coach Hagan, they've been very, involved with us. Right from the first bullpen, they've been right there telling us, hey, we're not going to change everything you do. We're just going to give you little points here and there, if we see something that we think we need to work on. So they've been really good with everybody. They've just been right there with us, and it's been really nice to work with them.
It's been really nice to have you drop by. Appreciate it, Mo.
Thank you.
All right, Morgan Cooper with us. Coming up, Coach Strong will be back with us, and we'll get to some of the questions from here in the restaurant when Longhorn Weekly continues right here on the Longhorn IMG Radio Network.